the silent caller, Phoenix, Arizona. Officer Jake Morrison had handled plenty of weird 911 calls, but this one stuck with him. It was 2:37 a.m. when dispatch patched it through. No voice on the other end, just the sound of heavy breathing. 911, what's your emergency? Jake asked. Silence. Then, faintly, a whisper. He's in the house. Jake's gut clenched. Who's in the house, Mum? Static. Then the call dropped. They traced the number to a house on the outskirts of town. Jake was closest, so he rolled up alone. The place was dark, too quiet. He knocked. No answer. The door was unlocked. Phoenix PD? He called out, stepping inside. The living room was normal. TV, couch, a few pictures on the wall. A light was on down the hall. Jake followed it. Then he saw the phone, a corded landline hanging off the hook, dial tone buzzing. His heart pounded. Hello? He called. The closet door creaked open. Jake spun, gun raised. Nothing inside, just an old coat, a pair of shoes, dust. Then his radio crackled. Jake! His breath caught. Dispatch, he whispered. Silence. Then that same whisper from the call. He's in the house. Jake bolted out of there, called for backup. The weirdest part? The house had been abandoned for over 10 years. The watcher in the field, Kansas City, Missouri. Deputy Aaron Foster had been called to plenty of rural homes before, but not like this. It was almost midnight when an old farmer called in, voice shaking. There's something in my field, he said. Been watching me all night. Aaron figured it was just a coyote or some lost drunk. He drove out to the farm, headlights cutting through the dark. The farmer met him on the porch, shotgun in hand. It's still there, he whispered, by the scarecrow. Aaron turned his flashlight toward the field. The scarecrow stood in the same spot as always. A tall, weathered figure of straw, arms outstretched. But there was something next to it, a shadow. It didn't move, didn't sway in the wind, just stood there. Aaron stepped off the porch, hand on his holster. Hey, you out there? No response. He took a few steps forward. The light caught something wrong. The figure's face was smooth, no features. And then it turned its head, not like a person, not right, too fast, too sharp. Aaron staggered back. The farmer slammed the door. Aaron ran to his cruiser, heart hammering. When he looked back, the field was empty. The scarecrow stood alone. Aaron didn't sleep that night. And the farmer, he burned the scarecrow the next morning. The Reflection, Seattle, Washington. Officer Linda Cooper wasn't superstitious. Then she saw the reflection. It was supposed to be a routine call, a gas station robbery. By the time she got there, the suspect was long gone. The cashier, shaking, pointed to the security monitors. He was weird, she said. Like, he didn't have a reflection. Linda frowned. What do you mean? The woman rewound the footage. Sure enough, the suspect, a tall man in a black hoodie, walked past the fridge doors. The glass should have reflected him, but it didn't. Linda leaned closer. Maybe it's a glitch. Then the suspect stopped. On the footage, he slowly turned his head, as if he could hear them watching. Then he grinned. And even though his body had no reflection, his smile did. Linda shut off the monitor. They never caught the guy. But later that night, as she brushed her teeth in her apartment, something made her glance at the bathroom mirror. And for just a split second, her reflection didn't move. The whispers in the morgue, Chicago, Illinois. Officer Brian O'Malley worked security at the county morgue. Easy gig, quiet, until the whispers started. It was always the same, a woman's voice, software, muffled, calling his name. Brian. He checked security footage, nothing. He walked the halls, flashlight in hand. Then, one night, he saw it. Drawer 107. It was open, just a crack. Brian swallowed hard and stepped closer. There was no reason for that drawer to be open. His fingers trembled as he pulled it all the way out. The body inside was covered with a sheet, but her mouth, it was wide open, like she had been screaming. Brian slammed the drawer shut and walked the fuck out. He never worked alone again. The whispers in the morgue, Chicago, Illinois. Officer Brian O'Malley worked security at the county morgue. Easy gig, quiet, until the whispers started. It was always the same, a woman's voice, software, muffled, calling his name. Brian. He checked security footage, nothing. He walked the halls, flashlight in hand. Then, one night, he saw it. Drawer 107. It was open, just a crack. Brian swallowed hard and stepped closer. There was no reason for that drawer to be open. His fingers trembled as he pulled it all the way out. The body inside was covered with a sheet, but her mouth, it was wide open, like she had been screaming. Brian slammed the drawer shut and walked the fuck out. He never worked alone again. The face at the window, Miami, Florida. Detective Sarah Green was writing up reports late one night when she felt it, someone watching her. She looked up and froze. Outside her window, on the 4th floor, was a face. A man, smiling, too wide. Sarah's breath hitched. She grabbed her gun, ran to the window. Nothing, no balcony, no ledge, just empty air. She sat back down, heart racing. Then her phone buzzed. No caller ID. She picked up. Silence. Then, that same smile, reflected in her screen. Sarah dropped her phone, and when she looked back at the window, the smile was still there, waiting. The thing in the jail cell, New Orleans, Louisiana. Officer Mark Reynolds had been working at the 9th Precinct holding cells for years. He'd seen everything, drunks, junkies, violent criminals. But this guy was different. They picked him up at 2 a.m., no ID, no name, just a tall, thin man in a tattered suit, staring at the sky when they found him. Didn't resist, didn't speak. They locked him in cell number 4. Mark was on duty that night. Around 3:30 a.m. he heard it, tap, 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 like fingernails against metal. He looked up at the security monitors. Cell number 4 was empty. Mark frowned, grabbed his keys, and walked down the hallway. The other guys were asleep or muttering to themselves. But cell number 4, the man was standing in the corner, facing the wall. Mark cleared his throat. "Hey, you good?" Slowly, the man turned. Mark's stomach dropped. His mouth was too wide, his eyes too black. Then he whispered something. Mark leaned closer. "What?" The man grinned. "You locked me in, but you forgot to check if I was already inside." Mark stumbled back. The lights flickered. When they turned back on, the cell was empty, the door still locked. The man was nowhere. Mark quit the next day, and they never used cell number 4 again. The wrong house, Detroit, Michigan. Officer Jamie Carter responded to a home invasion call at 1:45 a.m. The caller was frantic, whispering, "He's inside, please hurry." Jamie hit the sirens, got there in under 5 minutes. The house was pitch black. She knocked. "Detroit PD, open up!" No answer. She tried the doorknob, unlocked. Gun drawn, she stepped inside. "Mom, this is Officer Carter, where are you?" Silence. She checked the living room. Empty. The kitchen, nothing. Then, footsteps upstairs. Jamie took the stairs slow, heart pounding. A single door at the end of the hall was slightly open. She pushed it wide, and her blood ran cold. The room was empty, no furniture, no sign of life, just dust. And the phone. It was lying on the floor, covered in cobwebs. The call had come from inside this room, but no one had lived in the house for 20 years. The shadow in the rearview, Los Angeles, California. Officer Danny Valdez was driving the highway at 4 a.m. when he saw it. A woman in a white dress standing by the road. She was barefoot, pale, staring at him. He slowed down, rolled down the window. "Miss, are you okay?" She just pointed, down the road. Danny followed her gaze, nothing there. When he looked back, she was gone. His whole body went cold. Shaking his head, he pulled back onto the road. 5 minutes later, his radio crackled. "Officer down, crash on the highway, mile marker 241. Danny's stomach dropped. Mile marker 241 was exactly where the woman had pointed. When he arrived, he found a wreck. A car flipped, flames licking at the night sky. The driver, a woman in a white dress, dead on impact. The crash report said she had died 2 hours before Danny saw her. Would you keep working night shifts after this?
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.